Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. We do projects, training, and consulting. Check us out. Hopefully, in a few weeks, the new websites will be up, and I'll have more to say about that. Speaking of things that I have to say, I have the proof copy of my book in paperback. And I was able to do a little reformatting and cut about 10% of the pages out without removing content. So this will be a little thinner, but this is roughly what the paper book will look like. And look what I got today in the post. I got the test hardcover. Amazon now does hardcovers. And I think this looks really fantastic. And the cool thing about it is I'm going to have the hardcovers color printed. The paperbacks will be grayscale and the hardcovers will be color printed. And so that means you get full color stuff where I've got some images. That made more sense in the last book where I talked about color blindness and then everything was grayscale. The color print is just nice. Unfortunately, Amazon's books are so like all my little call outs and stuff have different colors. Um, Hey, Cherish. The color version will be nice. It is not cheap. Amazon charges a lot of money to print these. I apologize. I've set it up so that I make $3 to $6 per book. So when you see the prices and you go, yeah, that money does not go into my pocket. That reminds me, since we don't have Dr. Ari today, I should probably change the layers so we don't put messages right in front of my face like usual. Let's see, here we go. Zoom. All right. That'll be better. Let's also, of course, take a moment to thank everybody who donates to the channel. I haven't updated this list in a couple of weeks, so I apologize if you've joined and your name's not there yet. I have to do all this manually, so I will check that list soon. But thanks to everybody, past and present and future, who have hit the easier to find join button on YouTube. I use the money for streaming software and chocolate chips, so thanks a lot. Fridays is practicing critical thinking. We do this roughly every other Friday, and you send stuff in for me to tear into pieces so we can practice our critical thinking. You can send stuff in by finding the link at deltacx.com/links. You can send stuff in 24 hours a day, and I save it up for this show. Except for the person who sent a WeTransfer, it expired before I could download it because I was out of town. So sorry to the WeTransfer person. Your video will not be looked at today. I couldn't get it. WeTransfer expired. There you go. So, as always, this is an audience participation show. I hope that the live audience will chime in with your questions and ideas and critical thinking as we take a look at the different things that we will see. So, let me move a couple of things around and start sharing my screen. Let's see, I should click that button. And let's see. Yes. Okay, great. So you've got me, the optional tip jar, the chat room, and hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction for my browser. It is a private browser window, so some stuff will look funky. This is a LinkedIn post from 2 weeks ago that maybe hasn't aged very well because it's about Elon and Twitter, and that thing is changing like every hour, I think. But let's take a look. Hi, Bianca, newbie here watching from Germany. Welcome, welcome. So audience participation, Bianca, we want to know what you think. As a business, Twitter is not as big as it is valuable to society and its users' lives. Right off the start, I'm not too sure where we're going with this, right? Critical thinking hats on. What do we think the point of this post is going to be? I can't tell. And Twitter is big, and for many, Twitter is valuable to society. It's also hurtful to society, so it's got that double-edged sword. So I don't understand the comparison between its bigness, whatever that might be, and its value, whatever that might be. To bridge that gap, I didn't perceive a gap there, so I'm not sure he's really set up his thing quite right. New people, by the way, sometimes we do talk about the people's writing styles and how it can work against the point they're trying to make. Elon announced a possible new monetization strategy: charge $8 per month to verify users. Again, this is 2 weeks old. This already feels kind of old. Beyond impacting Twitter's cash flow, Elon hinted on how this will impact the platform's UX. Here's the sorry, I can't read today. Aspects mentioned by him I believe are the most important. 1. Lower relevance to spam and fake news. Musk promised to give verified users priorities in replies, mentions, and search, which is essential to defeat spam and scam. That's hard right off the bat, because I would say half the world has one definition of what's fake news and half the world has another definition of what's fake news. And where are we going here? Where does this end? So, for those of you who are new here, we are looking for meaningful, actionable, helpful. Is this post meaningful? Do we derive some meaning from it? Is there something that we can get from this? Is it actionable? Can I go and do something after reading this? Maybe if it's about Twitter, maybe there's nothing I can do, but is there a discussion point or an action point here? And helpful. Does this help me in some way? CJ, hey CJ, says it looks like he's trying to establish Twitter should be a higher value company. It's written about as well as my average writing. Okay, well, we're not going to judge that. Higher value, it was just bought for $1 squillion. So, value. Cherish says, I would like this writer to include his sources where he got that information about what Musk is trying to accomplish. Yeah, there's some tweets down here. Twitter's current lords and peasant systems for who has or doesn't have a blue checkmark is bullshit. Power to the people, blue for $8 a month, which is technically still a lords and peasants system, right? Y'all see it, right? You are a lord if you pay $8 a month. You are a peasant if you don't. Because we know that while $8 a month for some Americans, like rich Americans, $8 a month is nothing. You wouldn't even think of it for a big brand. Of course, $8 a month is nothing. But what about people who are from countries where the currency doesn't convert well against American dollars? $8 a month is a lot. It absolutely is. So, price adjusted by country proportionate. Okay, so we'll have to see what that looks like. And you'll also get priority. So again, it is a lords and peasant system. This is what we call pay to play. If you pay, then you're going to get priority in replies, priority in mention and search, and that's essential to defeat spam and scams. It's not. These are separate ideas. Cherish says, I'm new to the channel. Could you help me understand what meaning is in your diagram? How would I know if something I'm reading is meaningful? Yeah, I was writing about this. I have a note to myself to write a longer thing about meaningful, actionable, helpful, since people do ask about it. So I think that's really a question for each of us: is does this have meaning? Does this, so helpful, we can tell, did this help me in some way? Did this give me ideas? Did this help me with my job? Did this help me with my life? Actionable, we can tell, because could I do something after reading this? Hi Manuel. And then meaningful is definitely a little bit fuzzier, and I'm a little bit tired, and I forgot what I answered last time somebody asked me that. But oh, do I still have this rolled out? I'm sorry. Let me roll that away. Oh my gosh, I would have to look up meaningful. Now I'm trying to remember. Does anybody remember what I said? I mean, you would think I would know my own definitions of my own stuff, but I've not been sleeping well lately, and I apologize. Um, Meaningful. Help me. How do I not know my own definition of my own word? I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry, everybody. I think I'm working on my book like 20 hours a day and it just hurts. Meaningful. Well, I'll know it when I see it. Let me keep going and I'll have to get there. Um, they're cousins of each other. Can we pull up a definition? Let me try. Hold on. First, let me go back to this, and that way you won't see my whole screen. We had written about this in Slack, so let me go find where we wrote about it in Slack. Oh, let's see. Meaningful, meaningful, meaningful. Okay, I found it. Okay, here's what I wrote. Meaningful. Does this make sense? Is it important? Is it factual? So think about meaningful as relating to whether or not there seems to be truth in it, whether it seems to be factual or like someone, like you said, are there sources here? Is this an opinion? And opinions are okay, but is it a fact? Is it an opinion? Is it a true story? Is it a good true story? Do you find meaning in it? Actionable. After reading it, do you know what to do? Is there something you can change or try? I think everything should be actionable. Otherwise, you tend to read these things and you go, now what do I do? And helpful. So, my definition of helpful was, does this raise you up? Does this help you or the intended reader? Does this make things better for you in some way? Life, personal, relationships, whatever the topic is about. So, meaningful. Does it make sense? Is it important? Is it factual? Actionable. Can we do something after reading this? And helpful. Does it raise you up? And the example I sometimes give is when you see things like everybody's a designer. Is that true? Not really. Is it actionable? No, there's really nothing I can do about that. Sounds mostly like an opinion or a sales pitch. And is it helpful? Does it raise me up? No, because the more we hear everybody's a designer, the less I and all of you can get a job. So that fails meaningful, actionable, and helpful. Bianca says, in my opinion, from the user experience point of view, as observed since this idea came to life, the blue check mark doesn't seem to do much for the regular users other than paying $8 to mock Elon. Yeah, Cherish says, so meaningful might mean, is it verifiable? Can I apply it to a circumstance in my life? Yeah, that's true. I would say meaningful is a little bit personal or subjective. Some people will find meaning in things that others don't, but I still think it's in the eye of the beholder. So something meaningful to you might not be meaningful to me, but I do think part of that is factual and verifiable, or a really great or interesting opinion could be meaningful to you. But there are also opinions out there that hurt UX, hurt our profession, hurt our jobs. So we might find some meaning in it. It might be a meaningful opinion and we can make sense of it and it might be well written, but then it's not helpful. So, thanks for that. Sorry I drew a blank on my own definitions, but at least I had a source. Oh my gosh, good night, everybody. So, let's go back to the shared screen. Thank you, Cherish, for challenging me on that. I definitely appreciate that and need to have that a little bit more handy. I'll have to make a new graphic. Um, so yeah, thank you. Yeah, look, if this is critical thinking stream, you've got to be able to challenge me too. This is not just agree with Debbie hour. You are absolutely welcome to disagree with me, challenge me, ask questions, practice your critical thinking. So yes, challenge me for a definition. And sorry, I was too sleepy to have it on the top of my head. I am book obsessed, everybody. I think I spent every waking moment on it and some of my sleeping moments on it. So I think that with critical thinking, and let's hear from all of you, I don't see how having the blue check mark changes spams or scams, especially since, as Bianca pointed out, we saw people using the blue check mark in the last week or two for spam and scams. Yes, Solomon says there shalt be no dissent. Yes, exactly. That ain't me. And paywall bypass for publishers willing to work with us, which also sounds hints at more pay for play. So ultimately, this is a very long post, and we've got a lot to go over because we didn't have a show last week. So I'm going to move on. But I think in general, my thoughts here are, does this make sense? Is it meaningful? Is it factual? Well, it's factual in that this is what Elon Musk posted, but I'm not sure it totally makes sense. It doesn't seem logical. So I would say it's failing my meaningful test a little bit because it seems illogical. You know, how do you know that that this is going to defeat spam or scam? What's your definition of spams and scams? How is this not lords and peasants all over again. So doesn't pass meaningful for me, doesn't pass actionable for me because there's nothing I can do about this after reading it. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes something just thought provoking is okay, but not actionable. And is it helpful to me? I think, especially given what we've seen in the last 2 weeks since this was posted, I'm not sure this is helpful. With again, the definition of helpful being, does this raise you up? Does this help you or the intended reader in any way? Uh, no. All right, let's move on. This one is a Medium article from month and a half ago. Usability heuristic frameworks, which one is right for you? Going beyond Nielsen's usability heuristics. Okay, so the first thing that jumps out at me is you don't have to pick one. When I do assessments or reviews or whatever you want to audits, whatever you want to call them for clients, I don't just lock into one heuristics framework and say, well, based on these 8 things, 10 things, 6 things, here's what I saw on your website or in your app. I like to combine these. And I wonder what else did he make this graphic? So we saw this graphic in the Slack channel, and I think many of us agreed that this was a very dizzying and difficult visual. I thought that it could probably go on What the Fuck Visualizations. Do you guys know that site? I love that site. I think it's viz.wtf. It's like a Tumblr with really bad data visualizations. I think we felt like it kind of went there, but let's take a look at what the point of this is and see how we feel about it. Meaningful, actionable, helpful, or really any other criteria you want to create. CJ says 34-minute read. I hope this is as nuanced as the time estimate suggests. Yow! 34-minute read. Yeah, I write long stuff, but this is long. So let's blow through it because I didn't read this ahead of time. What's a heuristic evaluation? Okay, so a lot of us know what that is, but again, let's see. Even this definition is not very good. I feel like we don't know what it is from this definition. So that's hurting helpful and meaningful a little bit. Usability frameworks. So I already see some things here that I'm not sure are usability frameworks, and I see things that are missing. So this already makes me have some questions. So where did this person get these? Why are ones missing and why are other ones here? Does this person say? Yeah, Cherish says the article needs a table of contents. Bianca says overwhelming and not clear. Um, yeah, and some of these are tough. Oh wait, there's okay. So Gerhard Powell's is here. I was curious if he would mention that, and it is here. But he says these are not in the evaluation. So he's got it on a list, but then doesn't use it. And then he's got these are noteworthy frameworks, but I'm not using these either. But we don't know why. So, again, from the critical thinking perspective, that's fine if you don't want to include certain things in whatever you're smashing together. Um, but why? Why weren't these included? I think Gerhard Powell's is interesting. Why wasn't it included? Oh geez, that article was useless. I guess Solomon scrolled through it while I wasn't looking. Standardize the data. I think the problem is hypothetically, so this is what this person's visualization ultimately looks like. I'm on a 50-inch TV, and of course, this is unreadable. And in real life, what I'm looking at now is about 2 feet tall. I still can't read this. This is still hard to use. There's lots of different colors here. And I'm very curious if this is colorblind friendly because their color is a code here. So I'm going to use my color blindness simulator. You see me holding up my phone. Nope, not colorblind friendly. So if you're going to use color as a code, you're going to have to do better for the colorblind. I think the question would be, does this article pass heuristics? Where's accessibility here? CJ says, so if it costs money or it's too detailed, it's not useful based on the section of what's not included. Yeah, I don't know. Cherish says, articles need tags like, I wrote this to dump my thoughts for myself. Good luck, everyone else. Yeah, I do find that some Medium articles are like, I made up my own way of doing things and now y'all should do it. And my thought is, what problem did this solve? I didn't need this, but okay. I do like that there's a list of multiple heuristic frameworks. I do like the idea that if you're a curious cat and you're wondering how to improve some of your audits, you could just stop here in this person's article and go check these yourself and make your own. Absolutely make your own set of combined usability and other heuristic principles. Why not? You don't have to then publish it as a Medium article, but you can absolutely make your own for sure. Solomon says they basically went through and identified the most common heuristics across several frameworks and put together a pretty visual. Excuse me. Yeah, CJ says makes a fun poster, but the contrast doesn't look proper. Yeah, that could be possible as well. I don't know if the color contrast works here as well. I'm not going to get into that. And I think that from what Solomon is saying, if in fact he is trying to say that, hey, X number of frameworks have efficiency or this or that, that doesn't mean that that's better than anything else. So I don't know which frameworks to use, whichever ones you prefer that make sense for your world. Yeah. I'm not sure this is making things easier for me. I feel like this is definitely an information overload, but I do think that this small part of the article is nice in that we can then go and pursue checking these out ourselves and making um our own framework. I think that's what I would do. So I'm going to pass on this. I think it's a difficult infographic, and who knows, I might not even categorize things the way that this person has. Um, and also, especially if you read my upcoming book, which I keep waving at y'all, I am against system usability scale, so I would not have included it in something like this because it's not intended to be a heuristic analysis. It's intended to be something that you survey or ask your users to rate. That's different. So let's move on. Jeff White. Um, said, my firm landed a $200,000 client with zero marketing or advertising. Okay, so right off the bat, that feels a little bit clickbaity, especially when you think about how LinkedIn only shows the first line or two, and then you have read more. So of course you're going to be thinking, how did this guy do it? And he's really waving his you know what around by telling you how much money his client is paying him, and that's a very sizable number. So how did he do it? In the end, and I've skimmed this one before. This is the answer right here. The $200,000 client was someone I'd worked with at a previous job. So ultimately, is this meaningful? Does this have meaning? Well, it's true. I believe him. Well, I assume he's not lying to us. I think it makes sense. He's saying, I did good work and people liked me, so I got this client because somebody liked working with me in the past. Okay, I'll buy that. Is it actionable? No, there isn't anything that I can do about this other than hope that people I used to work with enjoyed working with me and will contact me when they need a project. I will hope they think of me. But this is an extremely long arc of time. I don't think he says when he worked with this person, but he says we built up trust over years. So it's not like he worked with this person in May and signed the deal in September. He's talking about creating a very long-term relationship, which you can certainly do, but I think my question is when wouldn't you be doing excellent work, and when wouldn't you be nice or a good person to work with. So while this may be good advice, it's a little bit no shit Sherlock, because I think everybody should be doing these things every day as much as possible. So do great work, be good to work with, help people, and have fun. No shit Sherlock. Yep. Congratulations. You know, what else can I say about this? I feel like this post is mostly waving the you know what around. Hey, look at me. I'm nice. I do good work. I'm getting a big block of money. Uh, Congratulations. CJ says, work hard and well and value your work relationships and you'll get opportunities. Fine point. How do? Yeah, gloat post. It does feel like that a bit. I feel like it's not actionable and it does feel a bit like, these things happen in my life too. I don't post them. It just doesn't feel right. But that's not my brand. That's not my style. Might be his. There you go. That's where we can talk about brand and personal brand. Malika says elementary, my dear Watson. Yes, elementary bullshit. All right. So next we've got a course that Frank Spillers is offering minutes ago. This is from a few days ago on his UX Inner Circle, which, as far as I can tell, is a paid universe. So, some of the UX people out there have created these monthly and yearly subscriptions. I think Sarah Duty has one. I think Jonah Tolley has one. Frank has one. I purposefully don't have one because I would rather my content be available to people than to block some of you from it because I wanted X dollars a month. So, first, let's take a look at how much Frank wants. So you can have a regular membership for 96, this is euros, but euro and dollar are nearly at parity right now. So imagine this says dollars. Um, so 96 per month. That's over $1,000 a year. And for financial inclusiveness, $47 per month. Hands up, people in the chat. Does $47 a month feel good, bad? It's hard, right? What do you even get for that? Well, he tells you live classes, Slack channel, peer mentoring, etc. So some of the things that I offer, some of the things that Frank offers, etc. So CJ is doing smiley faces. So, but what's interesting, and I think why people sent this to me was this is CX and UX. What's the difference? How do they work together? But notice the way he describes this class. We will cover the differences between the terms and roles involved in customer experience and user experience. The terms are confused and used loosely by stakeholders as well as UX professionals themselves, as evidenced by recent examples. A UX designer was recently told your new job title will be CX designer. I say good for them. They'll probably be more respected. I find that CX is more respected at companies than UX. I hope that helps that person. A UX consultant says they provide CX and UX strategy. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I'm just going to pause for a moment while anybody tells me if that sounds familiar. And maybe this third one, referring to the field of user experience as CX UX. Sound familiar? Anybody? I assume somebody sent me this because Frank is pretty much quoting me. These are things that I say. I say that I provide CX and UX strategy. I say that nearly daily. And I refer to multiple fields as CX and UX, not just user experience. So this is unfortunate because I feel like the way that this is written, I feel like even though we don't know what Frank says because we don't want to pay 96 euros to find out, I think it's unfortunate when we take these sort of shots at each other, especially since I had heard so many good things about Frank from Larry Marine and from some of you who took some of his classes. So, what it sounds like is that my guess is that Frank is going to use one of the current definitions of CX that's out there now. There are multiple definitions of CX. Some companies say CX is your call center and your customer support team, that is the customer experience. Some companies say marketing and market research are your CX team because ultimately they are trying to help sales win customers through marketing, and they're going to survey them later to see if they're satisfied. So they are the customer experience team. So, first of all, there isn't one definition of CX. Even before I show up and say CX/UX and I treat them more interchangeably, um, there are already multiple definitions out there. So that means in some cases, someone with a CX title is sometimes from marketing, and they're sometimes doing customer satisfaction surveys. They're not doing UX research or what we think of as UX design at all. They're doing uh, like satisfaction surveys, NPS, and other things. But if you take a look at what is the customer experience is a larger journey. Now, I also take a look at other people's definitions of CX. If you take a look at NNG, their definition matches mine, which is that when done well, CX and UX are the same. We're looking at the full end-to-end journey for a customer or user of any type. The word customer and the word user are not the problem here. They shouldn't be. But also, some people say that. Some people say, oh, well, a customer is someone who pays us, and the user is the person who uses the thing, and sometimes they're different. These are all things that I see companies doing to poop on the end user and not build what that person needs. So I do think we need to clean up our definitions, and I do think that CX is a lot more than make a customer journey map, which sometimes you also see. Hey, you care about CX, you care about the customer experience, make a customer journey map. Bianca says there's a framework breaking down CX as brand experience, client experience, employee experience, product experience, and services experience. Bianca, I'm probably more in that bucket because ultimately the customer's experience is a full end to end experience with the brand, with support, with products and services. It's also related to that employee experience as well. So I tend to be more in that bucket as a definition. But obviously, for Frank to have some sort of webinar in his walled garden that sounds like it's going to debunk things that I say, especially when these are definitions that are shared by other people. My definition is shared by NNG. My definition is shared by the big consulting companies out there who would love to sell people CX stuff. So Forrester, Gartner, their definitions of CX are very are pretty much nearly identical to mine. So yeah, Bianca says all the touch points exactly. So again, to make it seem like there's going to be a webinar here to debunk what I say, I'm going to keep saying this, and I think that to have this as a mini class or master class or paid class or whatever, I think I think is just why do this? Use the terms interchangeably as if no distinction exists. Again, it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to someone who's only done marketing their whole life, they will tell you they own the customer experience because marketing brings in customers and marketing surveys them later to see if they're happy, so they own the customer experience. If we work in that distinction, then that's a very narrow definition. CJ says, is this behind a paywall? It's essentially dictionary information and seems weird to have a live seminar on it. Yeah, especially since I feel like two of these things are like Debbie Levitt says these things, let's show why she's wrong. I mean, that's the impression I get. So that just seems strange. I mean, who cares what I'm saying? Well, luckily some of you do, but I'm just saying, like, it, is it really worth it? Like, do I need to create a live stream to debunk something Frank said? That just seems weird and personal. I guess I'll just take it that people feel threatened by whatever I'm doing. All right, let's move on. Good luck to Frank. So this is a video that I did not watch because I did not want this person to get my money. This is somebody I don't know and have never heard of, and it says how to learn UX on your own. Now, of course, my thought would be that this person would be recommending courses or boot camps or maybe their own course or Frank's Walled Garden or whatever it is. Um, Bianca says, I highly doubt he's done some user research on this. Well, again, Bianca, if you do look this up, there are multiple definitions of CX. And the question is, I guess ultimately you have to go with the one that you like the most. So if Frank wants to fight me on this, he's welcome to. CJ, luckily some of you do. They seem the same to me from studying history and talking to people in industry. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I guess what? No matter what mini classes Frank wants to put on, I'm going to keep saying things, and I'm going to write books from that perspective. Okay, so luckily for this person has chapters in, so I don't have to watch this. And for offering the service. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Bianca, I think if you're talking about the pricing of his service, I do think it is high, but I also think about the international audience that I have, and I think about people being laid off, and I think even $10 is a lot of money to people, $8, so that's why I try to charge nothing for as much as possible, because money's tough for everybody, always. The end. And that's not how I make money. I mean, like, for example, if Frank is going to make $14,000 a quarter for a private team training, he could probably give the other stuff away. But, that's just me. I'm a little bit more of a socialist. Um, yeah. Right. Bianca says, is there a need for that? Right. What's Frank offering that you can't find somewhere else? I don't know. I hear good things about his courses, but, or is it worth that money? I can't tell you. CJ says, considering the Interaction Design Foundation is around $300 a year, this seems severely overpriced. It could be. Ultimately, this is like meaningful. This is in the eye of the beholder. If you pay Frank over 1,000 a year and you feel like you're getting your money's worth, then it's worth it. The end. I can't tell you it's not. Okay, so take a look at the chapters of this video. This is how to learn UX on your own, and it looks like the chapters are Figma and Principle, which are tools. That's not going to teach you how to do UX. That's just going to teach you go learn tools. Best folios, I'm assuming that's some sort of portfolio related thing. That's not going to teach you UX. UX tools, I assume this person is going to talk about other UX software. Designer size, that sounds like one of those maybe like UI challenges or interview practice challenges. YouTube channels, and they mention Aona Talks, Chunbuns, Design a Lily, and Femke and Rachel Howe. That's it. So those are the people. How to learn UX on your own. Evidently, learn some tools and watch those YouTube channels. And then they offer coaching. So this is where I think we also have to take another look at this. Just like we're talking about what Frank charges, I think it's important when we see YouTubers to take a look at the things they offer or sell or who's sponsoring them, just to get the full picture on what's going on. CJ says designer size is design prompts to practice whiteboarding and exercise design process. That's what I figured. Um, so let's play the guessing game. What do we think this person charges per hour for coaching? Because and then business inquiries usually means they're hoping you will sponsor them. So there's that. I don't think this is, and I don't know who this person is. So I don't know if this person is good at UX, not good at UX, totally unknown to me. Um, so who wants to guess how much they charge for coaching? Okay. Do we want coaching for a portfolio review, for a whiteboard challenge, or for interview prep? Let's take a look. Portfolio review. $390 for an hour. You tell me if that's worth it. That's up to you. CJ says 75 an hour. Cherish says 50 an hour. I should mention I charge 100 an hour for coaching. That is less than I charge clients. Whiteboard challenge. Cherish says Jesus. $390 an hour. That's such a weird number. Is that divisible by 60? Is that like some weird number per minute? 390 divided by 60. $6.50 a minute. And interview prep, just seeing if these have different prices. No, $390 an hour. Yeah, Bianca says, ouch. Yeah. So, yeah, hey, if you can get a bunch of those, you don't even need a job. Bianca says ADP list charges $0 with experienced mentors. Yeah, but you have to check ADP list. I run more cold than hot with them. You do have to check. A lot of their mentors do not have a lot of experience or have UI experience that they're passing off as UX experience. So yeah, crazy cat face. So double check your ADP list mentors because some of them are not as strong as you might think. CJ says, why do no emojis come up for death, shock, or horror? Yeah, I don't know. There you go. So, some obviously my $100 an hour is out of range for some people. For other people, it's very much in range. But when I see these lawyer rates, I'm always a little bit surprised. Hi, Mindy. Good to see you. How have you been? It's been a few weeks. I've been doing a lot of research on services like this, and the pricing is wild. Yeah, somebody told me about someone, and maybe we shouldn't name names, but it looked like if you did the math on her coaching package, it came out to almost $700 an hour. Okay. Hey, if you can get it. Bianca says it's really helpful. Try as many as you can to find the right fit. Yes, exactly. It's as good as the person you find and the conversation you have with them. Good to see you. All right, we got more. We're going to run late today. So this was UX Magazine, who's usually respected, but I find they're posting a lot of garbage lately, which makes me sad. And this says stop being customer centric. So of course, immediately this is the clickbait. So this is definitely clickbait because obviously we're thinking here that the point of this article is going to be you don't want to be customer centric. You should not have processes or approaches that put the customer at the center. And we assume that the article might tell us why we don't want to be customer centric. Or does anybody else want to guess what this article is going to be about? We also get the UX Magazine does like a little bit of too long didn't read. They do a little bit of what some of the ideas in the article so we can see this. Designers used to have an honest ambition to make a meaningful difference in people's lives, but sadly, design has taken a wrong turn. Right there, I find that with critical thinking, that statement is quite difficult, and I'm not sure it meets my standards. Bianca says, when I see such headlines, I move on and don't fall for it. Totally agree. Good for you. Yes. Um, so this sounds like this. They're going to say, well, designers used to have an honest ambition to make a meaningful difference in people's lives, but now they don't. But then it says design has taken a wrong turn. So we started out by talking about designers, and now we're talking about design. So which is it? This is, I feel like there's a manipulation in here. The toolkit of design thinking seeks to find a union between desirability, feasible, and viability. Now, that's not from design thinking. That's from all kinds of other things. Design thinking is garbage. We talk about that all the time on this channel. It's fake news. Bianca says, I believe they have a slightly tweaked version of what they say we shouldn't do. Okay, to design in this century means to be cognizant of all of the problems, to have all of the information, and to make deliberate choices in that context. Okay. The massive success of companies like Apple has helped to propel designers into the boardroom. Today we have that seat and we have a voice, yet we're not using it properly. People who work in UX right now Are we in the boardroom? Do we have a seat? Do we have a seat at the boardroom? Do we have a seat at an executive or leadership table? That's not what I'm hearing. Uh, what isn't design thinking? Thank you, Malika. And cool that the Stream Elements bot picked up on that. I have a bot. It says Stream Elements. The bot is programmed to say wacky things. No, says Bianca. I know, right? So right already this person, I mean, if I thought the headline was going to lose me, because when wouldn't we want to be customer centric? I mean, isn't that what this person's talking about here? Being cognizant of the problems, having information, making deliberate choices, understanding context. It sounds like customer centricity. What is this person going to say we should be doing? So this seems false to me. So this doesn't pass my meaningful test. I think it is false. The toolkit we draw on, design thinking, except who's we? Because I don't use design thinking. I use user-centered design and human-centered design. Design thinking is a micro, watered-down derivative of user-centered design that is mostly a cottage industry. So to make it sound like we all use this and we all do this, I think is tough. Yeah, thanks for that helpful Venn diagram there. Peter Drucker, who's not at the table, marginalized groups. Okay, we get that. I'm writing about that in my book as well. I get it. Marginalized groups are still not part of our research very often, not part of our design, not part of our testing. Okay, I can agree with that. Are you going to tell me how to get them that place and that voice? Because so far we've opened up a lot of cans of worms, but I'm not sure this person has given us any ideas or guidance or potential solutions. And that's what I'm looking for that actionable piece. Design has taken a wrong turn. The discipline and its practitioners once had the ambition to be human centric. They wanted to make the world a better place, and better did not just mean making more money. Designers used to have an honest ambition to make a meaningful difference in people. I don't understand why this person is saying they used to. Well, I mean, thanks to design thinking, that's mostly fallen apart. So, but if you're watching my channel, you still have that ambition. So, who is this for? I don't get it. Look no further than the world's most valuable companies to see all of this in action. All of what? You just made it sound like thanks to Apple we have a seat at the table and in the boardroom, and now you're saying Apple's the problem? Design at Apple has been so focused on aesthetics that repairability and recyclability don't have a chance. The price tag makes you have to trade in a kidney. I thought we were just holding up Apple as the golden god. What is this article about? I can't even tell. Stop being customer centric. Customer centricity is a problem rather than a solution. Okay, so not meaningful and not helpful because I don't know why. Why is customer centricity a problem? Why is it not a solution? Would this person say user centricity is a problem? Like, is the problem the word customer? I can't tell. We know enough today to understand that we are facing systemic problems as a global community. We need our best and brightest minds to work on equitable, inclusive, sustainable futures. Okay, sure. We want that. But why does that sound like it's got something to do with customer centricity being the problem? To design in this okay, we already said that. We need to replace customer centricity and widen our circle of empathy. Empathy. Here we go again. We're not empathetic enough. Empathy is just such bullshit. It doesn't matter. If you're not taking the right actions based on the right information, all the empathy in the world just doesn't matter, right, everybody? Empathy, knowledge, action. empathy based on guesses about marginalized communities or stereotypes of marginalized communities isn't any better. Yeah, how do we do that? Not helpful. A lot of writing is done poorly. Is there a place someone like me can go to get my writing reviewed so I don't write bad articles? People send me their articles all the time and I review them for free. They're not always happy with what I say, but sometimes they are. You can always send me an article and I will give you the meaningful, actionable, helpful version. So that's it, the end. So ultimately, I don't think he proved any of his points. I don't think he proved that customer centricity is a problem. I don't think he proved that we shouldn't be customer centric. I don't think he proved what we should be instead. If we're not going to be customer centric, what are we? Um, People, planet, and profits. Well, of course, that we can still be customer centric and make sure we're doing ethical things. Customer centricity and ethics are not opposites. You can make sure you are focused on customers and users, researching them, making sure the marginalized communities are involved, making sure you're working with accessibility, and still make sure you're doing things ethically for communities and the planet. I'm not sure why he's setting these up as opposites. Cherishes bless your heart. Ha ha ha. Thank you, person probably from the South. Um, CJ says this article is everywhere but here. That needs to be on a shirt. Azo says, well, sustainability is in UCD ISO norm 9241 stated. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in ISO 9000, 9001 standards just for in general. And then of course in 9241 there's a mountain of stuff. So this article stinks, and I think UX Magazine has lost the plot a bit. Bianca says apparently this article might be pushing us to meditate. Oh no, was there something about mindfulness in here? The future starts now, negligence begins tomorrow. I don't get it. I thought he wants to leave negligence in the past, but negligence is still coming. I don't get. I'm look. I don't do any drugs, but this makes me think I should. Maybe then this will make sense to me. I don't get this. Let's move on. 5 reasons to not start a UX design career. Well, I already like this title because I agree. I think this is absolutely the worst time to try to get into UX that I've ever seen in my life before. Bianca says, oh, find the answers ourselves. CJ says, not a native English speaker. CJ, we're not going to say native English speaker anymore. We are going to talk about English proficiency, but I don't think that this person's English proficiency is the reason why this person couldn't make a strong point. I don't think it was a language barrier. Yeah, I know you mean the author. I don't think it was a language barrier. I just think the points weren't there. Bianca says, oh my God, I actually saw this article. What did you think of it, Bianca? My intention isn't to discourage anyone. Mine is, but it's better to know what you're getting into. Okay. Boot camps, certificates, career path is hard. Disclaimer, people have different experiences. The market is saturated. That's true. The market is oversaturated, I would say. Self initiative. That's. Wait, are these myths or facts? Can we tell if these are myths or facts? The market is saturated is true. It requires self initiative is true of everything on the planet. Eating food requires self initiative. Getting out of bed requires self initiative. So this is. Oh, hey, Janice, how are you? The article makes you think you should try drugs to understand it. Yes. Bye, CJ. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. Bianca says it's not what the headline says. Oh, crap. Well, then that doesn't pass the test. Boo. That would be clickbait. If it doesn't match the headline, it's clickbait. Everything requires self-initiative. You won't become a millionaire. Now, that's inflated. Yes, you're not going to become a millionaire, but I don't know who said you were. So, not too sure. You will need experience. right? You need experience to get your first job. It's not an easier path. Easier than what? And where's number 6? Whoa, wasn't this 6 reasons? Or was it 5? I'm sorry, I got excited. I thought there was a 6th. Okay, 5. Um, yeah. Actionable. What can I do about this? Not get into UX? I'm always concerned about articles that are like, be more careful, go out and learn, get educated. It's like, but you're talking to people who might not know the difference between truth and lies, so you can't just be like, go learn more. Go check this out. Don't waste your time. You learn the facts. That's not actionable. That's not helpful. Um, Janice says, I have a friend visiting from Sacramento. I'm excited to see her. Well, then what are you doing here? Hi, friend from Sacramento. Bianca says, I believe the market is only saturated because there are so many companies and product owners that cheap out when hiring researchers. I think the market is oversaturated because of all the people who took a short course online and got a certificate and are now sure they are fully qualified for their first job when they're not. Hi, Kayleen. All right, let's move on. This is a tweet from Mary Beth Hunsaker, who I don't know. A thing that should maybe get more attention is the fact that you know who seems to have let go 90% plus of the experience research org in the cuts. I'm assuming you know who is Elon, since this is dated 10 or so days ago. For non tech people, this is the role most closely focused on understanding and advocating for user interests and well being in product development. Okay, as usual, I'm not sure why somebody sent me this because it just sounds like a fact. Oh, Janice says, few hours until I pick her up at the airport. Farmcat says, I agree with your market saturation explanation. You stated it more eloquently than I could. Well, okay. Thank you. Um, Meaningful? Sure. Actionable? Helpful? No. So I'm not too sure what I'm supposed to say or do about this. Yes, we know Elon cut most of design. He said it's going to be an engineering focused organization and that they don't need many designers or product managers at all. So he cut them. Yeah, we get it. Who does she want to focus on this more? Why call it out for non-tech people? Maybe her followers are non-tech. I don't mind that she's defining it, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. But then again, I don't use Twitter. I ran out of patience with Twitter in 2010. So I guess Twitter is just a place where you just yell something into the void and see if anybody presses like. But I don't know. What do I do about that? All right. So whoever sent me image0661.movie, I can't download that. It expired on WeTransfer. Okay. Someone sent this one and they sent it with this commentary. Okay, I get it. More than just doing what users say during interviews or field studies, but how the article doesn't explain how. Okay, sounds like it's one of those articles that is very fluffy and surface level and says you should do something but doesn't give you any clue how to do it right or wrong. Let's take a look. FarmCat says working for an engineering focused organization is a death knell for UX research careers. At least it was for me. Oh, I would agree. Okay, here we are in UX Magazine again. This is from March of this year, written by someone I don't know. And it says, what can UX designers learn from the uniquely Japanese concept of, and I'm going to pronounce this badly, omotenashi. Omotenashi? Okay. Cherish says, what kind of content is appropriate to send you for critical thinking? Should we only focus on UX topics? I would say most people send me UX topics. Once in a while, it's not UX topics, but I would say, be careful of anything that is extremely personal to people. Like if you send me something about religion, I'm going to take an extremely neutral stance on that since I am non religious. If you send me something about politics, that's going to be very very divided. So I would say you can send these things, but you may or may not get from me what you're thinking. So, but go ahead. It's practicing critical thinking. Send it over. Ideas in brief. Japanese unique approach to creativity might be applied to understanding of design as a new way of thinking. Omotenashi is about anticipating the needs of guests which may not be communicated in an obvious way. Uh, CX and UX research, observational and field studies. I mean, I can't anticipate the needs of someone I don't understand. So I hope we're not guessing people's needs. UX designers certainly aspire to these principles that can be applied to user-centered design and might even work in the context of a startup. Might work. Good exercise. Glad I found you. Yeah, thanks for coming, Bianca. We do this roughly every other Friday. By the way, in addition to, hey, everybody, please subscribe to the channel and tell a few friends about the channel since Delta CX is for everybody. You can also check up at is it on the top of the screen? Delta CX, I can put it here, deltacx.com/links or everything you want to know about the stream. What's our calendar of upcoming streams? How to join our Slack and Discord, which are free. They are not walled gardens with fees. How to send stuff in for the live shows. How to get my free portfolio review and some free coaching from me or paid coaching from me, etc. So go there, and then of course tell everybody to subscribe. Okay. Advocating empathetic design by anticipating user needs, taking pride in fulfilling them, and sharing the knowledge. Okay, so I'm worried. I'm worried. I don't know. Who else hears this? I'm worried that this is, I have empathy for this person, so I can anticipate, colorful word for guess or assume, what they need. You do see this once in a while from weird people who claim to be UX leaders, where they say, we just have to have empathy and then we'll know what our users need. Or we just have to feel what they feel and walk in their shoes and see the world through their eyes, and then we'll know what they need. And I say, we'll know what they need when we observe them and freaking learn what they need. Why does it have to be some sort of body swapping experience? Farmcat says, I worked for one of those. She was nuts. One of those what? You have to remember, we're delayed 40 seconds, so by the time you're saying something, it's almost a minute ago, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Um, I'm fascinated with Japanese cinema. How nice for you. When I write, I get images and I connect one piece to another. How nice for you. Who are you again? Chris Kernahan. Okay. Okay, so far this is, let me tell you about me and the things I like to do. Cool story, bro. I'd often ponder how the distinctly Japanese approach to creativity could be applied to life in more broad terms. Okay, I don't know how to say this kindly, so I'm going to say it bluntly. Just like you probably shouldn't get a tattoo in a language that you don't speak because you might be surprised what it says. Cough, cough, person who recently posted to LinkedIn their new tattoo, and I believe it was not the correct words for what they thought it said. But I don't want to, unless you have lived in Japanese culture, uh, I'm nervous that you may or may not understand this concept well. For example, we all have ikigai wrong. We've got it wrong. So, I'm nervous about this. I'm nervous. Farmcat says one of those empathetic leaders. Yeah. Malika says never thought I would see Murakami mentioned in a UX article. Yeah. There you go. I discovered the term omotenashi. It involves the subjugation of self in service to a guest without being servile. I don't know how you subjugate without being servile. Anticipating needs is at the heart of the concept. Fair to say, in Japan, acting on others' needs without being asked to do so is at the height of savvy. Height of savvy? Is anyone else having some trouble with that line? If I can be so bold as to condense this historically rich word down to a single sentence, I really hope not, sir, ma'am, both. Um, Psst, bro, you can admire culture without appropriating it. Thank you, Mindy. I didn't want to totally go there, but thank you. Cousin Mindy went there. I would suggest to wholeheartedly look after guests. Almost exclusively used in the hospitality industry, but if we use the term guest for user, can we apply digital? Okay, that's where this goes wrong. Well, if I substitute fly swatter for sandwich and then I substitute napkin for chocolate, now we've got a thing. What? No. Don't take somebody else's stuff and try to fit it into your thing. This doesn't feel right to me. Solomon says, I think they're saying good thing to do. Right? But remember, this person can say, you know what would be great? If we knew our users so well that we could anticipate their needs. And we can know our users so well through good generative qualitative research like contextual inquiry, field studies, observational research. You don't have to bring in Japan if that is not your culture. Like I don't even feel comfortable writing about Italian culture and I live in Italy. There's only so much I want to say about Italian culture as some even as someone who lives here. It is about anticipating the needs of guests. I feel uncomfortable reading this. I feel like I should stop. I feel like is he quoting himself here? Um I think that whatever this point is, since I feel a little bit lost, could be made without invoking a culture that may or may not be yours. I'm assuming it's not his only because the way he writes about it, like, oh, I might sound naive, oh, I'm going to boil it down. It makes me think, just from the writing, not from anything else, that this is not this person's culture and they're trying to look at something else and fit it into their paradigm. Farmcat says the explanation to me seems like be curious and be confident but have humility. Okay, but that's different than anticipate user needs. Remember, this article was supposed to be about we can and UX designers can learn from this concept and anticipate user needs. That was supposed to be the point of this article. Nope, and I'm running late. Okay, this was the last one. So, I not meaningful, not actionable, not helpful, and I'm a little nervous about where it went. Um, I'm lost. I'm not. I'm speechless. Let's move on. Okay, so that being said, that brings us to the end of this show. Let me take a look at our calendar of events. Thanks for people who stuck with it. Monday is Think Out Loud, and since nobody sent me anything for Think Out Loud, I'm going to do a little bit of a tear down or fake heuristic analysis of the new updated YouTube app design. I've taken some screenshots. We're going to share them, and it shall be carnage. Bianca says, thank you. Yeah, I do this usually every other week. Thanks, Mindy. Have a good weekend. Farmcat says, decades ago, there was a UX concept about being a butler in need anticipation. This seems like a refresh of that. Yeah, but the whole butler thing, all this, we don't have to be a servant or servile. We just need really good research. Okay, next week, think out loud. Tuesday, office hours, ask me anything. Hopefully, my guest can make it. Wednesday, no show so that we're not colliding with Darren Hood's chit chat hour. Thursday, we usually take off. Friday, the 25th, I know it's the day after Thanksgiving. Many of you in America might be shopping. Don't shop, stay home, buy online, be safe. Get away from people. We'll be doing critical thinking next week, so send your stuff in, stuff of any type. Yeah, fake heuristic analysis. We're just going to tear apart the new YouTube design. And then the last week of November, same kind of stuff. Think out loud, office hours. And don't forget, December 1st is going to be our community hangout. I know the event calendar says AirMeet, but I'm in the process of transitioning from AirMeet to Remo, which we used last time, and I think we had more fun. So remember, the first Thursday of every month, which will be December 1st, is our cool networking hangout. Talk UX, don't talk UX. Tell me your favorite song. Tell me your favorite food. It could be anything. Thanks, Malika. We'll see everybody Monday. Everybody be well. Don't forget to pre-order your Delta CX book. Customers Know You Suck. You can find it on Amazon. The Kindle's available for pre-order, and then the paper books will be available 2 weeks from today. Mark your calendars. 2 weeks from today, we're going to do a special stream to launch the book. I'm going to take questions on it and read you some excerpts from it. So mark those calendars. All right, I'm going to play us out of here. Thanks for a cool show. Thanks to some new people we got to meet. And hopefully I will see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.
Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are